Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of the Paranormal Graveyard. I'm your host, Roger Belt, and my lovely partner over there is Miss Christina Corzetti, and Christina's gonna... The Paranormal Graveyard. Yeah, here we go. Yep, gotta get over here. Sorry about that. And, stop. I hate when it does that. I don't think about getting it in time. But anyway, before we get everything rolling here, I was going to try to find a picture I can put up in the thing here, but it didn't want to give me one that I wanted. So I want everybody to remember what day it is and be thankful for all of our vets, past, present, and future. And you know, we're honoring our vets that have passed, and not much else you can say except that, you know, these people gave their lives so that we could do stuff like this. So
yeah, exactly.
And people grilling out and going to the beach and all this kind of stuff, you know, you might not be doing that if it weren't for them. So, you know, say a little prayer. You know, honor the vets some way or another. They deserve it. And with that being said, I'm going to let Christina bring us in because I got to go shut my door, or every little noise is going to be coming in here.
Okay. Well, a list of all mythological creatures and beasts that are and ever were is simply too massive to even try to compile onto one site and still be able to give each creature the spotlight it deserves. There are many variations and recorded facts on each and every creature. And yes, some are in fact much more popular than others, and information is more easily found. Sometimes the recorded history of these mythical beings change the image that we have envisioned of a particular being and its purpose. Well, here's a compilation of a few of the ones that we have found to be especially interested and captivating. Roger, you want to take us on the first one?
I can do that. I want to say hello to Cheryl real quick. Cheryl Carter just popped in. Welcome, Cheryl. The first one we're going to talk about is the Banshee, a spirit appearing as a frenzied old woman whose high-pitched shriek prophesied a death soon to come. A banshee is a ghostly woman whose high-pitched screams prophesy the death of someone soon to come. The ghostly screams are almost always heard at night and are said to sound like a blend between a woman's scream and a night creature's wail. Ooh, like a panther maybe. It is hear the wail of a banshee, then someone close to you, or possibly yourself, will soon meet their end. There is an ancient Irish tradition called kneeing, where a woman will wail following a person's death. Keeners, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Keeners, as they are called, were often in demand, and people would even hire the best keeners to wait for their loved ones. This leads us to wonder if the Banshee, also known as the Wailing Woman, could be a ghost of a great keener. The difference being that keening happens after the death of a person, while the Banshee's cry happens before the death of a person. Therefore, hearing a banshee's wail means that someone close to you will die very soon. There isn't a lot of detail about banshees in Celtic mythology, mostly because it is rare for anyone to actually see one. The vast majority of what we know about these mythical creatures come from what they sound like, not what they look like. That's interesting.
It is very.
Yeah, I mean, if you saw one, it's almost like that ghost ship coming out of the fog that we talked about.
Yep.
You know, with the skeleton crew, and if you saw um, your loved one or whatever, or your friend on the boat,
Oh
they would
yeah,
die
that's right.
or something.
Yep. Yeah,
That's,
beating your death.
so would you call that a skeletal banshee? I don't know. Anyway, those who have seen a banshee usually describe them as a thin old woman wearing a traditional burial robe, which is often torn and tattered. They have wild, uncombed hair and wrinkled skin. Banshees appear in non corporeal form. They have no physical body, and their ghostly visages can float several feet above the ground and pass through solid objects.
Huh. I didn't know that either.
Oh, wow, that's kind of like reminds me of a Scooby Doo cartoon, but
I know, right?
I won't go there. There is an old Irish legend that states that if you find a comb, particularly a silver one, never pick it up, for it is probably the property of a banshee. Another legend said, and if you find a silver comb that belongs to a banshee, belongs to your comb or stringy hair. I'm just asking, you know. But another legend said that only certain families were targets of the banshee. But this has been displaced as members of these families moved on and married into other families. Technically, the banshee is considered to be part of the fairy family, though banshees are not actually fairies. The term fairy is used commonly in old Irish myths to describe supernatural yet human-like figures. In modern definitions, though, the banshee is its own creature with some ties to the fairy world.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's the thing when you start getting into stuff like this, you know, whether it's true or whether it's not true, it's still interesting because it makes you think about stuff.
Absolutely.
You know, like, all right, I'll go ahead and bring it up. The Scooby Doo cartoon where the ghost went through the wall and he done it with the trick mirrors and stuff. I had to go.
I
I had to go there. I love Scooby Doo.
love Scooby Doo too.
Okay, Christina is going to tell us about the black-eyed beings, and those are interesting too.
Oh yeah. The black-eyed beings, they take human form but have black, soulless eyes and animate a sense of pure evil. They're often called black-eyed kids or black-eyed beings, but what they really are is a complete and total mystery. Most accounts of encounters follow a lot of the same patterns. Those slight changes in each scenario only make the mystery of the black-eyed people that much greater. In most cases, a human-looking being with pure black eyes, including normally the white parts, will approach a person at their home or car asking to be let in. They usually have a very dry personality, almost no personality at all, unless they are told they can't come in, to which they get very agitated. Most people describe a feeling of intense dread and fear when the presence of these black-eyed beings, but they can't say exactly why. Usually, the black-eyed beings have a very pale or sickly-looking skin and very dark hair. They are usually men, but not always, and often wear all black or very dark clothes. Now, not all cases go this way, though. Some people have been approached in public by these beings. One woman reported running into a female black-eyed being in a gas station restroom who just stood there and stared at her. Now, the term black-eyed kids is used very often as a generalization for this phenomenon because of the higher number of cases involving children with black eyes. In almost every case, it will be one or two children around 10 years of age that ask either for a ride home if someone is in the car or ask to be let into the home. They often wear no shoes and they look dirty and disheveled. They are just as devoid of personality as their elder counterparts until risen to anger when being told no. In every case, the black-eyed people must get permission to enter the home of the car. They cannot come in without an invitation, even if they want to. In one case, a young man reported a girl trying to get in through a doorway, but was stopped by some invisible force when he wouldn't give her permission to enter. Anyone who is familiar with the vampire mythology will recognize that the invitation to come in is a classic trait of the vampire.
Yep.
In a couple of cases, one involving a man and one involving a young boy, the person encountering the black-eyed person drove away in their car, only to see the same person on the street 2 or 3 different times on their way home. There is no physical way that the black-eyed being could have traveled that far that quickly. One of the black-eyed people was caught on security tapes in an elevator. When a man riding the elevator with him watched the tapes back, he appeared alone in the elevator. No black-eyed person to be seen. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. To be in the elevator with someone, but when you look back at the tape, no one's there. That's crazy. Almost every story of an encounter with the black-eyed people ends with the person feeling great fear and running away. In a couple of stories, people have had very intense and distinctive reactions telling them not to let the being know that they are affecting you. In a sense, these people sense the danger, but have a fight reaction rather than a flight reaction. Either way, it seems best to trust your instincts in these situations. Now, those who have spoken to them say they have often made reference or not having a home. They seem to wandering around looking for something. I have an eerie feeling that their idea of home isn't a house, it's a body to live in. So, what are these black-eyed people? Some think they are demons taking the form of humans in order to steal someone's soul. Others think they are vampires looking to take someone's energy or blood. Another explanation is that they're alien life forms trying to fit into society and probably a place to live.
That's interesting.
That is very.
You know, when I thought about the demonic side of it, I didn't think about the alien side of it.
Oh, yeah. You got to think that way, too.
It is interesting because, you know, that brings a whole new outlook to it that I hadn't thought of before.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
You know, and they say, of course, the aliens are among us, and they look like us, so we don't know. But maybe that's how you tell them they got black eyes.
Maybe. Well, either case, it happens a lot more than one think it does. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just, you know, I get to talk about one of my favorite ones.
Ooh.
Mothman. I love Mothman. A winged creature in the shape of a man with hypnotic red eyes sighted in West Virginia. In 1966, a small town in West Virginia became home to the Mothman legend, one of modern mythology's most powerful and mysterious stories. Who or what this creature is or was can only be guessed, but proof of its existence is beyond any reasonable doubt. Scarberry and his passengers stopped the car in front of the factory gate like the other youths in town. They hung out regularly in the area and noticed that something was unusual. A pair of glowing red lights had appeared near the gate. As they looked upon them, the lights moved towards them, and they realized that these were not lights at all, but a pair of glowing red eyes.
Ooh.
Attached to a dark figure. The creature stood nearly 7 feet tall with huge wings folded behind its back. Without hesitation, Scarberry hit the gas and fled the area as fast as he could. According to everyone in the car, the creature immediately took flight and followed the car down the road, keeping up with ease. Even as Scarberry pushed the gas past 100 miles per hour, the glowing red eyes stayed just behind them. Finally, Scarberry reached the Mason County Courthouse, and the creature flew off into the darkness. This was the first, but not by any means the last sighting of the creature that would become known as the Mothman. Oh, dadgummit, there's my second favorite one.
But hey, it can happen, right? I mean,
Oh, well, I get to hear it, so go ahead.
the Jersey Devil?
Yeah.
Well, a flying creature with high-pitched scream and horse-like head native to the New Jersey Pine Barrens. The Jersey Devil is described as having a face shaped like a horse, with a small goat-like body and bat wings. It has a high-pitched scream and is said to have eaten hundreds of farm animals in the southern New Jersey region over the years. Um, as you can see, it is rather impractical creature that doesn't seem that it would be able to get off the ground, let alone move with the speed it is described as having. Um, I wonder how fast this thing can go.
I don't know. Yeah, I've heard all the different stories, you know, of how the Jersey Devil came into being and all that, about the
Uh-huh.
mother, all the 13 kids. She said she hopes it's a devil.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And so, you know, but if there could be such a creature as this, okay, I don't know if I believe the whole mother story and you know, um, hoping her child was born to be a devil or whatever. It could be just a freak of nature. Um, and that's what I would more think it would be if it actually existed. It would be a freak of nature. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, any way you look at it, if you saw something like that coming at you in the woods at night, well, at night especially, you probably wouldn't even notice it. You know, it'd be there before you. And if it ate animals, how many children could it have ate?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, just you know, if a child wandered off too far away from the house and into the edge of the woods or something,
Oh,
too,
absolutely.
you know.
Gone. See ya.
Um,
Well, several unrelated witnesses reported seeing the same creature in a short period of time. For them to all describe a creature that doesn't seem to make much physical sense only makes me wonder why, if it were all a hoax, the witnesses would choose to describe a creature that sounds too illogical and fantastic to be real. In January 1909, over 1,000 residents of southern New Jersey reported seeing a flying creature with a horse head. This was by far the boldest outing that the devil had ever had. For 1 week, beginning Sunday, January 16th, 1909, several people reported seeing a strange creature in towns of Pennsylvania and New Jersey along the Delaware River. Was this the infamous Jersey Devil, or was there other explanations? Very well could be.
could be.
You know?
I still like the Jersey Devil story though. I just and the Mothman story. Those are two of my favorite ones.
If you can have a Mothman, you can have a Jersey Devil, can you not?
Yeah, why not?
Exactly.
You know, but they say that the Mothman actually, they think it would show up like warning of a disaster or something like that.
Okay.
And if the Jersey Devil showed up, I don't think it's going to warn you about a disaster. It might warn you that it's hungry, you know,
Yeah.
but other than that, I don't think it's going to be giving you any kind of warnings. Doppelganger. Everybody's heard of a doppelganger, right?
Yep.
Apparitions of people that occur in impossible situations. The term doppelganger is used often to describe someone that looks just like another person. But there are more mysterious and sinister roots than the word suggests. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story that happened to me several years ago. Lake County is about an hour drive from where I live. It's where some of my children live and grandchildren live.
Okay.
But years and years ago, I went down there to visit my brother that lived there at the time, and I stopped into a little bar there in town, you know, had me a cold beer and then hit the road. I walk in there and everything, and this woman comes up to me and says, "How dare you come in here after what you caused last night?"
Huh.
I'm like, "Lady, I haven't been down here in about a year. I live an hour away from here."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, she was serious too. Apparently, somebody that looked like me caused a lot of problems the night before, and she said somebody almost got killed or something. I'm like, I haven't been here.
Sinister double.
So yeah, the Jersey Devil or Doppelganger, one or the other. Literally meaning double goer. A real doppelganger is an apparition that appears in place of a person in a location or situation that would not otherwise be possible. See, what did I just say?
Exactly.
Many people have seen this image of themselves, both in life and in visions. Other times, a person may be seen walking through a room when they are in actually several miles away at the time. See, once again, the third most common sighting occurred when the image of a person appears to walk past an area twice in a row, moving in the same direction, to where it would be impossible for the person to have returned there fast enough. Doppelgangers are often seen as bad omens. In many circumstances, the doppelganger shows up during or soon after tragic events. We may never end up knowing exactly what these apparitions are, why they come, where they come from, or what they want, but there are too many sightings to disregard them. Whatever this creature or spirit is, its appearance is rarely good news. And as in the case I told you about, that was not good news.
Yeah, didn't they say that everyone has a double somewhere?
They say everybody has a double.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and I've been told by different people over the years that I have a double.
I have too. I've been told people see me around. And I'm like, that wasn't me. They're like, it looked just like you.
Yeah.
So that's wild.
Mary Strickland said, I always heard that everyone has a twin. Hope mine's rich.
Mine's rich. That's funny.
Right. Well, the thing about it is, if you had a rich doppelganger,
I know,
I don't
right?
think he's going to be sharing with you. Yeah, you never know, though. They might.
Okay, well, next on our list we have a fairy, which is a small flying humanoid with magical abilities. Fairies are easily one of the most confusing and misunderstood creatures.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, I missed one. My bad.
What?
Go ahead. You're
Okay.
right. I'm wrong.
Fairies is the most commonly understood sense that can be described as small humanoid creatures who have thin, membranous wings and generally tend to stay away from humans. Modern fairies tend to have an iridescent glow to them, and many are considered at least partially immortal. Unlike other immortals, though, fairies are not indestructible. Their immortality is best described this way. Fairies can be killed, but they do not die of natural causes. That is, even though they most certainly can die, they won't die of old age or natural failure of the body. In this way, many fairies are considered to be hundreds, if not thousands, of years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then we got the next best thing to the fairy is a pixie.
Mm-hmm.
Pixies are small people who live on the dons and moors of Cornwall or Devon in the south of England. According to the myths, pixies were originally druids who resisted Christianity, that they resisted the influence, and the pixies grew smaller. Another myth tells us they were a race of people who were not good enough to go to heaven, but nor were they bad enough to go to hell. Now that's crazy, interesting stuff.
They made him a pixie.
Yeah. And we're doomed to walk the earth forever. Pixies are known to steal horses and make nocturnal trips on them over the moors. Pixies like to trick humans, such as throwing objects around the house. Pixies are hardworking. They work in the fields the entire night to earn some food.
Oh, poor little guys.
Yeah. So after they throw stuff around your house and scare the crap out of you, they go work in your field so you'll feed them.
Exactly.
Can't beat a deal like that, I guess. I mean, they lived in the mines. The miners left a piece of their pastry on the ground to keep them happy. Yeah, I've heard that stuff too, Cheryl. Nicholas said fairies do die if your windshield hits them at 90 miles an hour. I guess so.
Oh, absolutely. If they hit your windshield, whew.
Yeah, at 90 miles an hour. I mean, it's flat. You know?
So is a pixie smaller than a fairy, or a fairy? I think a pixie's smaller than a fairy. I think.
Actually, it just said that pixies were basically um, refused Christianity, so they grew smaller. Now, I've never heard of nothing like that before, but when
Yeah.
it grew smaller, and I'm assuming that pixies, um, wasn't Tinkerbell supposed to be a pixie?
Yeah, pixie dust, right?
Yeah, so,
Um,
but it was like a fairy.
yeah, I think Tinkerbell was a pixie.
So, Tinkerbell was a pixie fairy, I guess. I don't know. She had pixie dust. Yeah.
Okay. Next, we have shapeshifters. Humans who can willingly take the form of an animal while maintaining their consciousness. There are many variations of the shapeshifter concept throughout mythology. In fact, it is such a powerful archetype that the term shapeshifting can refer to several different variances in mythology, but figurative and literal. The type of being that we're talking about here is a specific type of creature found throughout different mythologies, but defined by a single united theory. The shapeshifter is specifically a human who can willingly take the physical form of one to several animals while maintaining their human consciousness. This precise definition is of great importance, as there are other human form to animal form transformers in myths and legends that do not match this criteria. One major trait of this being is that it transforms at will. It does not automatically change forms in full moons, when immersed in water, and so forth. They can stay in their human form indefinitely, and many don't even know they have this ability during early childhood. Though their transformation is willful, they can accidentally cause transformations by losing control of their emotions, particularly anger. Some shapeshifters of this kind can transform into multiple animal forms, while others can only transform into a single form. All members of this race begin as a single form shifter. It is not known why some can change into multiple forms and some only as a single form throughout their lives, but it appears to be genetically predetermined. That's interesting.
Yeah. I like shapeshifters, skinwalkers, all that stuff's interesting.
Yeah, I was thinking of American Werewolf in London when I was just the that would be a little different, but
Hey, Jerry, gnomes wear funny hats and sit on the lawn. Well, yeah, if you get the ceramic ones. And if you're Michael J. Fox, you run over them with your car, and bust them up. Excuse me. Real quick, this is the Paranormal Graveyard. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Remember, it's Memorial Day. Salute to all the past vets, future vets, and all the homeless vets, God bless them. I hope, things like that are going to change here soon, I hope. But
Absolutely.
anyway, just want to make sure that I remind everybody that it is Memorial Day. Thunderbird, a giant bird that creates storms with its wings. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
A thunderbird is a huge bird with an enormous wingspan who was directly connected to adverse weather conditions. It was said in Thunderbird legend that the bird caused thunderclaps each time it flapped its gigantic wings. Depending on the storyteller, the thunderbird could also cause rainfall or shoot lightning from its eyes.
Nice.
I thought it was going to be like William Wallace and shoot lightning bolts from its arse.
That's funny.
In every case, in every, I am William Wallace.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
In every case, the creature was powerful and intelligent. It could cause great storms at will and was not to be messed with. Depictions of the Thunderbird can be found on several totem poles in various Native American cultures.
Yes, they can.
It usually appears at the top, sometimes with teeth inside of its beak. And if it's at the top of their totem, then that means that this is one creature that they give a lot of power to.
Mm-hmm.
So, for anybody who does not know that. In every case, the creature was powerful and intelligent. It could cause great storms at will and was not to be messed with. Okay, that's where I just was in. Yeah. The origins of this bird are largely unknown. Some researchers believe that the Thunderbird legend is based on the sightings of real birds, with some even posing the argument that early sightings could have been from descents of the pterodactyl dinosaur species. Because of this, the Thunderbird goes from being merely a mythical creature to potentially also being a cryptid, a creature whose experience or existence is reported but not proven. So, if there were such a bird that, let's say, through some kind of evolutionary pattern from the pterodactyl,
They gotta be out there. How can they not be?
managed to survive the prehistoric age. Well, them dudes way back in that movie and everything found all those dinosaurs, on that, where they went, and climbed down the rope to this big jungle in the thing on the mountain, and there was all the dinosaurs and all that stuff.
Okay.
Lost World, you know what I'm talking about.
And what world?
Lost World.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. See?
Yeah. Yeah, Lost World.
And stuff.
Yep.
If they can find them in the movie, surely we can find a Thunderbird somewhere.
Yeah, you see all those old pictures that they're showing them that caught a Thunderbird and stuff like that. And
now I do remember watching a video. It's been a pretty good while ago now, where it was talking about this bird, this large bird, and it showed that there was a kid playing in the yard, and you see the shadow of this enormous bird coming over, and the woman runs out there and grabs her kid and runs to the house with him, because this bird is big enough to tote off her, much less the kid.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, Thunderbirds.
All right.
Windigos.
Wendigo, an evil spirit that possesses humans and turns them into cannibals. The Wendigo is a demonic spirit believed by Algonquin-based Native American tribes to possess humans to turn them into cannibals. Now, the term Wendigo or Windigo is used to describe both the evil spirits as well as the creatures that humans can become when possessed by the spirit. The monster version of the mythical creature is human-like, but very tall and gaunt, with deeply sunken eyes and yellowish decaying skin. They are impossibly thin and have an unending hunger that craves only human flesh. The best known way to become a Wendigo is through cannibalism. Now, by eating another human being, even out of necessity for survival, a human can be overcome by these spirits and be transformed into one. The fear of turning into this creature was so strong that it was preferable to kill oneself rather than resort to cannibalism. Um, excuse me. There is a condition known as Wendigo psychosis, under which people who have reasonable access to other food sources would explicitly become overcome with the need to consume human flesh. One such person, a Cree man named Swift Runner, famously slaughtered his entire family in 1878 and ate them, despite being only 25 miles from the Hudson Bay Company supply post. In 1907, a Orgy Cree man named Jack Fiddler and his brother were arrested for killing over 14 people who he claimed were Wendigos or about to become them. As tribes have been more and more influenced by surrounding culture, the reports of the Wendigo have declined over the years, but as with most evil spirits, it is doubtful that this creature is gone for good.
So basically, they turn into cannibals and they eat people.
Correct.
And what does one have to do to become one of these things?
Supposedly eat the human flesh, and then I'm not sure to be transferred. It said it'd be transferred into one.
So
it says by eating another human being, it can overcome these spirits and be transformed into one.
Well,
doesn't say really how.
Not that I ever plan on munching on any humans, but you know, just in case the thought ever would enter my mind, and I was starving on a snowy mountain cap somewhere.
I was just gonna say, what if you're stuck on a snowy mountain? You gotta eat something, right? Start with the arms.
Well, I'd be going on my own leg or something, I guess, because I don't want to be one of them things.
Mm-hmm. No,
anyway, Meg's chickens are almost that big. Well, I like chicken.
I like chicken.
Better than fried, by the way. Dragons. Gotta love dragons.
Oh, yeah.
Mythical dragons were and remain extremely popular. Particularly, every ancient civilization has its own tales and stories about this spectacular creature. The two most common interpretations of this magnificent beast are the Western European and Eastern Asian Oriental types. In general, most forms had serpentine and or other reptilian traits with various strengths, powers, and physical features. The quantity of legs, arms, heads, and types of skin varies greatly. They also are described in a large variety of differing colors. Eastern versions were mostly depicted as good, wise, and great teachers and allies to the humankind. They were often gentle and the keepers of peace and wisdom. Their Western counterparts were in general quite the opposite. Many were entirely evil and solely bent on destruction and causing total chaos. Whether good or evil, they often represented one of the elementals with the ability to control and use its powers to help their allies and destroy any opposing forces. So you got your good dragons and you got your bad dragons. And which dragon are you?
I'm the double-headed dragon.
Oh, okay. I'm that one with the 7 heads. You remember which
All right, Mongolian death worm.
Now that's something that you got to think about.
That
I
isn't
read some stuff on that one time.
excuse, I'm gonna sneeze. Ooh, bless me.
Bless you.
Thank you. The Mongolian death worm, isn't that Men in Black 2?
Men in Black.
Yeah, remember the movie Men in Black?
I'm not sure about that one, but I remember reading something about the Mongolian death worm.
Anyway, this dangerous desert worm is a deadly, enormous monster with reddish, poisonous skin, razor-sharp fangs, and is capable of splitting fatal splashes of venom and even electricity. Its appearance resembles that of a living piece of intestine riddled with visible veins and covered with gooey slime. This horrifying beast spends most of its time slithering about deep in the sands of the Gobi Desert, waiting to surface at the smell of its favorite prey, humans. The Mongolian death worm can emerge from the sands out of nowhere to attack, shocking its victims to the ground with a healthy dose of electricity. Anything that survives is afflicted with a spray of lethal venom that covers and quickly dissolves their flesh, killing them almost instantly. The people of Mongolia, natives, and the government were so equally spooked by this sand monster possible existence that they made it illegal to even speak of it, and also declared the Gobi Desert off limits to any foreigners trying to authenticate the existence of this deadly organism.
So, in other words, don't go into the desert. It's illegal because you might run across a Mongolian death worm. And if you did run across such a thing,
yeah,
what the heck are they worried about? Like, it's really going to let you go once it,
I know, right?
So, who are you going to tell?
Actually, that reminds me of the movie Tremors.
Yeah.
That's more like it.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
The first, it started getting more ridiculous as they went along, but
oh, they all do.
First one was funny. It was funny. Gotta love it. Anyway, Spring-Heeled Jack. Spring-Heeled Jack was a disfigured monster that wore a mask to cover his hideous face. This villain could breathe hot blue flames that he would use to stun people with prior to an attack. This terrifying monster with evil glowing eyes also had long, sharp metal claws that he would use repeatedly slash his victims with. Freddy Krueger was a monster with metal claws.
Oh, yeah.
Or knife blades. He was also known to be able to jump great heights with extreme speed and ease into surprise attacks or away from authorities. His mask was reported to have been fashioned of metal and like a helmet covered his head and also part of his face. His face was horribly disfigured, bearing scars similar to that of a severe burn victim. This creature was reported to have attacked several young women and men. He would blow his blue flame in their faces and freeze them with fear.
Yeah.
He then would proceed to slash them with his infamous iron claws. He was always able to escape using his tremendous jumping skills. Now, is it possible that's where Wes Craven got the idea for Freddy Krueger's knife blade hands?
No, he got it from the dream of the Chinese people disease.
Anyway, it was an interesting thought.
So what does he do? He sprays blue blue flames, and then he gets them with his claws.
Well, according to what it was saying, he blows his blue flames in their face and scares
Just
them,
freeze them. Yeah, and then he gets them.
and I guess immobilizes them with fear.
Huh.
So I guess the blue flames don't burn them; it just freezes them into
Yeah,
immobility.
I like that ability. I want to freeze people.
Yeah,
How
how about that? Somebody
about
comes at you, you just blow your blue flames out.
that?
Then you kick them in the never
Yeah. All right, we have trolls. These mythical monsters are generally described as being very large, ugly, and beast-like. They are also not known for displaying very much intelligence. They often have features such as horns, warts, hairy skin, long arms, and humpbacks. These beasts also have disfigured faces with oversized noses, distorted eyes, deformed teeth, and huge ears. Definitely a troll. These monsters are not usually depicted as being very friendly. In fact, they are often described as cannibals and man-eaters. In fairy tales, they are known to intercept and block the passages for travelers and cause many to perish without reaching the journey's end. They sometimes live together, usually in parent and child groupings. It is also said that they come out mostly at night in the search of food and water. Any exposure to sunlight can turn them to stone. That I didn't know. Some Scandinavian stone landmarks are said to have formed by some of these giants who dared to venture out in daylight. I didn't know that. So you learn something new every day.
Yeah, interesting, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Chupacabra. Now everybody's heard of chupacabra.
If you can have one of those, you can have the Jersey Devil, you can have the Mothman.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mothman, Jersey Devil.
that Chupacabra is the same thing, right? It's got the wings too, maybe? Doesn't it have wings? No?
Let's find out here.
Okay.
Chupacabra is said to be a heavy creature about the size of a small bear with a row of spikes all along its back and tail.
Oh,
Yeah, I
I
didn't
know.
know that.
I know what we're talking about now. Okay.
This creature apparently loves to suck and drain the blood of small animals, especially goats. Hey, it might be Muslim. Has left numerous bloodless carcasses behind at a time, all with puncture wounds to the chest. The first reported account of an attack by this contemporary mythical beast occurred in 1995 in Puerto Rico. Shortly after that, many small animal deaths were reported in several North and South American countries. These incidents even led some to suspect that perhaps these killings were being committed by some sort of satanic cult. Since then, many creatures have been captured and examined in hopes of being the ultimate proof of the existence of this livestock killing machine. So far, only managed inflicted coyotes and foxes have surfaced as being the culprits to smaller killings. But how can anyone explain the 2 to 3 signature puncture wounds and the absolute lack of blood left in the carcass? Sightings, pictures, and even video can be found on the web right this very day, all claiming to have proof of the existence of this creepy and bloodthirsty beast. Did you see that one where the woman supposedly had one in a cage?
No, I've seen pictures of these things. I know exactly. They're very small, and they do have spikes on their spines going all the way down. But, I mean, how can you account for all the mutilations? And then they have the puncture wounds in the neck, and there's nothing. It's like completely sucked of its blood.
I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
You know,
Oh, anyway.
crack yourself up.
Yeah, interesting. When you look at it. Oh, here's another one of my favorite ones.
Bigfoot. All right, well, Bigfoot is the name given to a mythological, I have a problem with that word, ape, or a humanoid-like creature that is said to inhabit the forest, mainly in the Pacific Northwest. In North American folklore, Bigfoot is usually described as a large, hairy, bipedal humanoid. Now, scientists discount the existence of Bigfoot and consider it to be a combination of folklore, misidentification, and hoax rather than a living animal because of the lack of physical evidence and the large number of creatures that would be necessary to maintain a breeding population. Occasional new reports of sightings sustain a small group of self-described investigators. Most reports of sightings are attributed to being various animals, particularly black bears. Bigfoot is described as a large, hairy, muscular, bipedal, ape-like creature, roughly 2 to 3 meters, covered in hair, described as black, dark brown, or dark reddish. Individuals claiming to have seen Bigfoot describe large eyes, a pronounced bow-ridged and large, low-set forehead. The top of the head had been described as rounded and crested, similar to the sagittal crest of the male gorilla, with a strong, unpleasant smell. 1/3 of all claims of Bigfoot sightings are located in the Pacific Northwest, with the remaining reports spread through the rest of the North America.
Okay. Bigfoot is my hero. If y'all never watched Harry and the Hendersons,
I love Harry and the Hendersons.
and at the end of the movie, at Harry and the Hendersons, when he went tramping off in the woods, all these other ones came out. So see, there was
Yes,
a large breeding population. What's wrong with
it
you?
was. I know, right?
I mean, and he loved little doggies too.
Mm,
You know,
he's so cute.
Bigfoot's cool.
He is cool.
They even taught him how to sit. Remember?
About who?
They taught Bigfoot how to sit. Remember in the movie?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, as they said, it wasn't quite perfected, but anyway, uh, we're the black shuck. I've never heard of this one. Black shuck, old shock, or simply shuck is the name given to a ghostly black dog, which is said to roam the coastline and countryside of East Anglia. How do you pronounce that?
Angela.
Accounts of the animal form part of the folklore of Norfolk, Suffolk, the Cambridgeshire, Fens, and Essex.
They talk about England.
Yeah, I figured that. Black Shuck is one of many ghostly black dogs recorded across the British Isles, sometimes recorded as an omen of death, sometimes a more companionable animal. It is classified as a cryptid, and there are varying accounts of the animal's appearance. For centuries, inhabitants of England have told tales of a large black dog with malevolent. Is that supposed to be malevolent?
Yeah, malevolent. I can't ever say that word. That's a tongue twister for me.
That are red or alternately green.
Yes. Never heard of the black chuck, huh?
Never heard of black shuck. No, never heard of that.
Yeah, those demon
I
dogs.
might have to ask Paul over here in the chat room. You ever heard of black shuck, Paul? He's over there. He would know.
Yeah, I post it all the time on my site. The demon dogs.
Paul, are you still over there? Anyway, okay.
All right, the Boogeyman, my favorite. The Boogeyman is a common allusion to a mythical creature in many cultures used by adults to frighten children into good behavior. This monster has no specific appearance, and contraception about it can be vary drastically from household to household. within the same community. In many cases, he has no set appearance in the mind of an adult or child, but is simply a non-specific embodiment of terror. Parents may tell their children that if they misbehave, the boogeyman will come and get them. Boogeymen may target a specific mischief. For instance, a boogeyman that punishes children who suck their thumbs, or general misbehavior, depending upon what purpose needs serving. In some cases, the boogeyman is a nickname for the devil. Boogeyman tales vary by region. The boogeyman is usually a masculine entity, but can be any gender. Now, I always thought a boogeyman was male. I didn't think it could be a female. Never
Right.
thought of it to be a female.
Female boogeyman.
Yeah, to me,
And
a
if that
boogeyman
was
is
the case, that would be the boogie woman.
yeah. Ooh,
The boogie woman.
the boogie woman.
Oh, come on, boogie.
She's all covered in boogies.
Let's do the boogie woman.
Boogie.
Gnomes. Now, there's the ones that's in the yard that Michael J. Fox ran over.
Yeah.
In Frighteners, if you ever watched the movie.
I never seen that movie, believe it or not.
Really? Oh,
I've never seen The Frighteners. I hear about it all the time. I've never seen
You
it.
got to see that movie. It's funny.
Okay.
That's a good movie. I ain't kidding you. I love the guy. You've seen the guy, right? The sergeant on all the Facebook posts that's always talking about calling people names and wussies and all that stuff. And
I don't know.
I know you have.
Okay.
Anyway, he plays in the movie too.
I'll have to get that movie.
He's a dead guy, and he comes out of a tomb all dressed in his military drill sergeant uniform,
Okay.
telling all the ghosts to get back in their graves.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you got to see that movie.
The Frighteners, right?
Okay. Gnomes are a very small humanoid race which are not physically different to humans other than they are only about 1 to 2 feet high. Gnomes are classically seen as protectors of the natural world. Often they are portrayed as little men with beards who tend to the garden. Gnomes are also seen as adventurers wanting to discover the world. They often join parties of adventuring heroes. Gnomes can prove useful due to their height and sometimes turn to a life of crime.
Are they little thieves?
I'm gonna carry me a little gnome with me. He's gonna, whenever I want to be mischievous, he's gonna go do my dirty work.
Now, I've seen videos, especially on YouTube, if you Google it or whatever, and you see these little gnome things running around behind people. It's really weird. Hey, gnomes are out there.
Hey, Paul, since you're still there, have you ever heard of Black Shuck? Answer me, Paul. Have you ever heard of Black Shuck? You know, the ghost dog. Maybe you'll answer in a minute.
Well, while we're waiting for him to answer, we have goblins. Goblins vary in size, but are smaller than orcs or hobgoblins. They are a green-skinned race which have pointy ears. Goblins have sharp, pointy teeth. They look thin and scrawny. Goblins sometimes are seen as more intelligent than their cousin orcs, but are often bullied by their bigger and tougher relations. Goblins form tribes in which the biggest and hardest goblins is the leader. Goblins are often seen in company of orc tribes. Goblins use a array of weapons, well, anything that they can lay their hands on. Goblins are seen to ride wolves into battle, in which case these tend to be the vanguard of an orc and goblin army.
Okay, Paul says no, he hasn't heard of Black Shuck. We did. We talked about him here just a minute ago or two. Vampires. as we were referring to the black-eyed beings, they're the ones that have to get permission before they can come in and suck your blood.
Yep.
Modern culture has brought the vampire to become one of the most famous or infamous monsters of the night. The following lists the most popular of modern vampire lore. Vampires are dead or undead. Vampires are usually long dead aristocrats from Europe. They can only come out at night as sunlight sets them alight. They drink blood by biting people on the neck using fangs. They can turn themselves into bats. They fear garlic. Wonder why.
Stinky.
I fear garlic too, but it ain't because I'm a vampire. Vampires can be burnt by holy objects, such as a cross or holy water, which wounds caused by such objects cannot be healed. They have to sleep in their native soil, usually in their coffin that they were buried in. They turn anyone they bite, but do not drain them fully of their blood. They can be killed by a wooden stake through the heart, can be killed by decapitation. According to vampire lore from Eastern Europe, vampires didn't actually bite people. Most vampires were peasants. They have no association with bats. Holy items have no effect, and there is no need for their native soil. Most ancient vampire lore refers to vampires being more like ghost-like. Their body stays in its tomb, while the spirit or ethereal form can move freely. A stake through the heart did little. Only cremation of the body was the only safe way to kill a vampire. The only two modern vampire lores that feature is the fear of sunlight and a fear of garlic. In reality, a real vampire is a predatory ghost who kills to prolong its own life. It is not necessary to be bitten to become a vampire. You could have practiced sorcery, be excommunicated by the church, or commit suicide, or finally be a were creature. That'd be a werewolf, not a vampire. It was believed that a vampire would first kill members of its own family, then friends and neighbors, before striking out against anyone within its area. Also, these vampires cannot cross running water, the same as ghosts and non-holy objects can wound them. So that's some interesting stuff, okay? You know, so much for, and it didn't say one thing in there about them having to be invited in.
No.
In fact, if they're a ghost, why can't they just go through the wall? Why would they need to have somebody let them in through a door or window? Just thought I'd add that. Because we don't know.
Hey, they claim vampires still exist. Of course they do.
Did you know that pumpernickel is German for fart goblin?
I'm sorry. I had to put that in there. All right, zombies. Here's one for you. Zombies are corpses brought back to unlife by various ways depending on the text. What's that?
Brought back to unlife?
Yeah, brought back to unlife.
Okay. I'll buy that for $1.
Zombies fall into two groups: those caused by a virus or bacteria that causes the infected person to die, then come back as an animated person with a craving for flesh. These types of zombies. are seen in computer games like Resident Evil and in most zombie films. The other type of zombies are those that are raised by evil magic. This usually involves a, here we go, necromancer. What is it?
Necromancer.
That necromancer or some other spellcaster. Voodoo magic is also associated with zombies. There have been reported cases of zombies wandering around the streets due to voodoo magic.
Remember the mummy movies?
Old mummy movies.
Yeah. Okay, mummies are long dead pharaohs and nobles from Egypt or the Three Niles area. They are bound up in a process called mummification in preparation for the afterlife. Their tombs were often cursed, and it is said that if the tomb is disturbed, the mummy will come back to life to seek out the person who disturbed the tomb. Mummies have been featured in many fantasy and horror stories. Two recent films, The Mummy and The Mummy Returns, have an example of one such evil mummy.
Now, if you unravel that mummy, nothing's under that, right?
Huh?
What happens when you unravel the mummy? Nothing's under it, right?
Well, yeah, the mummified body.
Depends which mummy you're talking about, then. Because some mummies, I thought that if you unraveled it, it's like.
Whenever when they mummified a person, they would go in and take out all their vital organs.
Yeah.
And put them in jars.
Yeah.
Because they had to have those when they went to the afterlife.
Gotcha.
Okay. And so basically they were drained, I guess, of blood. Now I don't think they used any kind of formaldehyde or any of that stuff. But of course, once they're drained and everything of blood and stuff, they're wrapped with these claws that are probably soaked in some kind of oils and all that stuff to preserve the skin. And as it dries and hardens, it becomes like a mummified corpse.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
If you unwrapped it, it would still be a mummified corpse.
Gotcha.
Okay. Anyway, melon heads.
Melon heads. Melon heads is the name given to legendary beings in urban legends in parts of Michigan, Ohio, and Connecticut, generally described as small humanoids with bulbous heads who occasionally emerge from hiding places to attack people. Different variations of the legend attribute different origins. A mysterious man known only as Dr. Crow lived in a secluded house on Windsor Road in Kirkland, Ohio, an eastern suburb of Cleveland. Some say he was married, that his wife was unable to have children. Other accounts say the Crows had a child who suffered from hydrocephalus, which is water on the brain, which caused the youngster to be severely disfigured. Dr. Crow may not have been a real doctor, but that didn't stop him from doing his work. He was said to be the guardian of a number of orphan children, or perhaps he was the staff physician, although there was no record of any orphanage ever being in this area. In either case, the children became the victims of his macabre medical practice, possibly in the attempt to help his own child, or maybe in some sort quest for a cure. Dr. Crow performed experiments on his children. Horrific, painful experiments, including injecting fluids into their heads. Then repeated treatments caused the malformations that gave the children their terrifying appearance. The melon heads, as they are called, were docile, helpless victims of the madman's strange fascinations. Years passed, and Dr. Crow insanity raged. The escalating evil spilled out from the doctor to patient. Those who survived went mad. In an unexpected act of revolt, the Melonheads attacked Crow, taking vengeance into their most violent manner. The doctor died at the hands of his children, who were now free from collective captivity. The Melonheads set fire to the doctor's house and laboratory, destroying any and all records of the non-sanctioned experiments and deplorable abuse. They were free, but where did they go? The only home they have ever known was gone, and was the only adult they have ever dealt with. The Melonheads took to the woods, hiding together, scared, angry, seeking shelter and food wherever they could find it. They had no ability or desire to communicate with the outside world. Once again, they were all alone.
Okay. A puckwudgie. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Puckwudgie.
Yep, Puckwudgie. Those
Native,
are the England guys.
Native Americans believed that puckwudgies were best left alone. When you see a puckwudgie, you are not supposed to mess with them, or they will repay you by playing nasty tricks on you, or by following you and causing trouble. They were once friendly to humans, but then turned against them. They are known to kidnap people, push them off cliffs, attack their victims with short knives and spears, and to use sand to blind their victims. The Algonquian and Wampanoag tribes have many legends about this creature, who is thought to be capable of both good and evil. To some, it is a good-natured and helpful being who inhabits the forests of the Great Lakes and New England regions. To others, it is a mischievous troublemaker who is capable of terrible, even deadly deeds, including kidnapping and sabotage. Puckwudgies use their wits as well as magical weapons such as bows and arrows against those who anger them. Interestingly, some of the places the puckwudgie have been known to frequent are connected to other supernatural beings. Recent reports put the puckwudgie in Massachusetts at the Freetown Fall River State Forest on the Watupa Reservation, an area belonging to the Wampanoag Nation. Fall River is the home of the infamous accused axe murderess Lizzie Borden, who may or may not be haunting her old residence.
Love Lizzie.
Puckwudgies and Lizzie Borden, what a combination.
I know, right?
Okay, that's all that I have.
Yep.
Being as much fun as it was,
We'll have a lot more next week.
I hope everybody enjoyed it. Of course, it's normally we run a couple hours, but our material didn't run a couple hours this time, so
It's okay. Can't always have 2-hour shows.
Well, that's true, you know.
We like company.
See, I know they all love you so much they want to keep you on for 2 hours. So
I know, right?
Yeah, no. Now me, you know, they can give
It's the dimples.
Anyway, that is going to be it for the mythical creatures episode tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed it.
Yeah, next week we have serial killers. There'll be a long list there.
Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41.
I love Lizzie.
Yeah.
My bucket list.
And thinking about Freddy Krueger, we was talking about, maybe that's where they got the idea for his metal knife hand thingy. You gotta love the little girls jumping the rope out there and doing the little song. 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah.
4.
Yeah.
That was cool. I like that little jingle. 3, 4, better lock your door.
Yeah.
Never sleep again.
Nope.
Thank you, Paul. Mary, Megadoodle, whoever else is over there that I'm not seeing your names right now. Jerry was here. Christopher was here. I don't know. I don't know who all was over in here because it goes so fast. Sometimes you don't see some of the other names.
We had Paul and
Nicholas was
Mary.
here. Cheryl Carter was here. And we appreciate it very much, everybody.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
And next week, as Christina said, we're going to be talking about serial killers, and that should be a really interesting.
Yeah, that will run us 2 hours, definitely.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, good night, everybody. We'll see you next week. Same
Good
time,
night.
same channel.